Hello folks, this is Sula speaking, and you're watching a commentary video on League of Legends, this one featuring Sion. Yes, a different champion. This is a practice game that I'm playing with all people that I generally game with online with League of Legends, so it's going to be a 4 versus 4 game played on Summoner's Rift. You can see on my team, I'm playing as Sion, along with Mookie, who's playing as Kennen, Earthstrike playing as Shen, and Roland, who's playing as Ashe. Then we're playing against some of our friends, Speaker playing as Misfortune, Diva playing as Gangplank, Atlas, who goes by Bertrand de Horn, playing as Warwick, and then Kalen playing as Kael. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting matchup since it's going to be 4 versus 4 instead of the usual 5 on 5 on Summoner's Rift, but we didn't quite have enough people for a full game of 10. Nevertheless, that should make it kind of an interesting game. Now, one thing you'll notice right away is that this is played on the Halloween map. You can see some of the items are different. Instead of red potions and blue potions, we have candy corn as the health potion item. You can also see that the map looks different. This is the special Halloween map that Riot Games has created, and all the games are being played on right now. I think it looks great. It looks very festive. You can see some of the little touches that they've put in as far as making it look sort of Halloween-y. They also have the Twisted Treeline music that plays while you're on this map, which is great. It's kind of spooky, and it definitely fits the theme that they're going for. So I hope that they'll keep this map around. I hope it won't be something that we only get to see for like 2 weeks each year. Hopefully, after Halloween's over, they'll just let people pick this one normally. But I guess we'll find out what they decide to do. It's certainly, I mean, it's the same map, obviously. There's no differences, but it's just nice to have some variation and have 3 different map types. We have the summer, the winter, and then the Halloween one. Here's what Sion looks like up close. I'm just zooming in to show you him. There's some other nice touches, like see over here, there's a little grave for Earth the manatee, which is sort of a running joke in the League of Legends community that I'm not going to go into if you haven't heard of before. Anyway, here's how we're split up. We're going to have one jungler. There's actually one jungler on both teams. We have Shen jungling, and the other team has Warwick jungling. And then that means, of course, that there's just one person in each solo lane. So 3 solo lanes and 1 jungler means that everyone's going to level up pretty quickly, and everyone's going to be able to get farmed up rather fast. Alright, one thing I'll mention before I get started is I've had a number of requests to try to play some different champs, so this is one attempt at doing that. I'm trying to play Sion, and I'll talk more about Sion in a minute. I actually had a fan send me a promotional code that basically gave me what you get if you buy League of Legends. Like if you buy it in stores, you get access to 20 champions, and you get access to some Riot points so that you can buy additional skins. So I want to thank Tobias, or Tobias, not sure how that's pronounced, but thank you very much for sending me that promotional code. I'm definitely going to use some of those champions. Now that one of the champions that was unlocked for free with that promotional offer that you gave me is Warwick, so I'm going to try to do some jungle Warwick. I just need to buy a couple more runes that are useful for jungling, maybe get some armor runes especially, instead of the current mana regen runes that I'm using. So I'm going to try to do that, and then hopefully I'll be able to show some Warwick jungling stuff to those of you who are watching. Alright, getting back to what's going on here in the lane. I'm playing against Kalen, who is obviously using Kael there. So this is kind of an interesting matchup here. You won't see these two champs going one-on-one very often in this game. As far as Sion's abilities, I'll start by talking about his passive. He is a rather kind of a garbage passive, to be perfectly honest. He has a 40% chance to what's the word I'm looking for? He can ignore a little bit of damage that gets dealt to him. I think that he has a 40% chance to avoid something like 20 or 30 damage. Anyway, it's not particularly useful. It's only maybe helpful right at the start of the game, so it's not really something that's going to make any kind of difference. It's not like Annie's passive or Anivia's or anything like that. As far as his skills go, I'm going to start by talking about his W skill, which is the one that you see me using. This is known as Death's Caress, but more commonly just as Sion's Shield. It's the skill that you've seen me using a number of times. When you hit the W key, Sion will start charging up his shield. The shield will absorb damage that's done to him, and then after 4 seconds, he can choose to explode the shield if he chooses. That damages everyone in the area. See, like now I can explode it if I want, and there I go. I choose to trigger it, and you can see it does damage to all the minions around me. Now, you can't explode the shield until after 4 seconds are up, so it takes some practice to use effectively. You kind of have to use the shield ahead of time before you actually want to detonate it. But it's a very useful skill because it will both protect you from damage, and it can absorb quite a bit of damage before it ultimately is broken. And then you can use it to deal damage to enemies in the area, either minions or enemy champions. And you might have seen that Kalen actually took quite a bit of damage when he got hit by the shield. So anyway, versatile skill, useful. It also has one of the best ability power ratios in the game. It actually has a 1-to-1 ability power ratio. So for every point of ability power that you get, you'll deal 1 additional point of damage with the shield, which is really good. Most skills have like a 0.5 or 0.7 ratio. So that's one reason why going the ability power route with Sion tends to work pretty well. And that's in fact what I'm doing here. There you see me get in a lot of damage on Kale, and I come just short of killing Kalen there. To be honest, if I were more familiar with this character, I almost certainly could have gotten a kill there. But like I said, I haven't played Sion. I really don't know how to play Sion beyond that. So this is that was something that could have been handled a lot better. Okay, in terms of his other skills, you might notice that his E skill sort of is flashing there down at the bottom of the interface. That's because this skill is known as Enrage, and it's not a skill that you actually use. It's just a skill that gets toggled on or off, and I currently have it toggled on, and I'll have it toggled on for essentially the whole game. Enrage is a bit of an interesting skill in terms of how it works. When it's on, you deal increased damage. So I think that you get 25 extra damage on your melee attack when you at level 1. Every time, but the cost is that every time you use it, it doesn't cost mana. What it does is it costs life each time you use it. So anytime you take a melee swing with Enrage on, it will take away some of your life. I think it costs something like 6 life. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not looking at the numbers. But you get increased damage. And secondly, every time that you kill a minion, or an enemy champ, but let's face it, more likely a minion, Sion gains increased max life. So at level 1, which is where I have it right now, every time I kill a minion, I will gain 1 extra max life. And that can increase up to 3 per kill when it's maxed out at level 5. So Sion is very good at building sort of tanky because he can get a lot of hit points very easily. And by the way, that's not just when I kill a minion with my melee attack. When I kill them with the shield, I also get that life boost as long as Enrage is turned on. So normally with Sion, you'll just turn on Enrage right as soon as you get it and never turn it off because frankly, it's just too useful. You want it on all the time, both for the bonus damage and so that your life will keep increasing. Anyway, and if you keep watching my hit point bar down there, you'll see that my health keeps increasing every time I kill minions. Now, his last skill is one that you just see me using there. His Q skill is called Cryptic Gaze, but more commonly, it's just called his stun, because that's what it is. It's a stun. It has moderate range, not particularly good range. You actually have to be pretty close to the person to use it, but it's a great stun. It stuns the person that gets hit for 2 seconds, which is a pretty long time. I think it's 2 seconds. Again, I'm not looking at the numbers in front of me. Stuns him for 2 seconds, does very good damage, and just like Sion's shield, it has a 1-to-1 ability power ratio. So for every point of ability power you get, his stun will deal 1 additional point of damage. That's why there's sort of a narrow consensus that going the ability power route is the best way to take Sion. He's pretty versatile. You can also go attack damage instead of ability power. But I think that there's sort of a narrow consensus that it's better for him to go the ability power route due to the ratios on his shield and his stun. In other words, so ideally, if you're playing Sion well, you're going to get farmed up. You're going to get a lot of ability power. You're going to start doing a lot of damage. And you can see how much damage it did to Kalen right there when I used my shield. So if I were better at using Sion, I'd be able to set up that stun for an easy kill in some way. But I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not good enough at doing that. Now, finally, his ultimate is called Cannibalism. I've got it written down here. And look, here's Kalen. I probably should be able to get a kill there with my stun and shield. Because Kalen came out away from the tower. But once again, I do not manage to do so. So again, poor execution on my part. Anyway, his ultimate, Cannibalism, it increases his attack speed by 50%. And it also grants Sion an enormous amount of life leech. Lifesteal, I guess I should say. I think he gets 50% with the first point, and then increasing to 75%, and then up to 100% when it's maxed out. Now, that's not all that useful if you're going the ability power route like I am. If you're going the ability attack damage route, it's a lot more useful. Now see here, I'm going to come out of the bushes, stun, and then attack, and I'm using my ultimate, and I'm getting some lifesteal, but because I'm just in range of the tower, I'm not quite able to get that kill. If we were, maybe 2 or 3 steps away in the other direction, that would have been a kill, and I could have, been off and rolling here. But again, I'm unable to do so. All those skulls you see trailing away from Sion, that's the cue that he's used his ultimate. So he gets that extra attack. He gets that extra attack speed and extra life steal for, I think it's 20 seconds after he uses it. So again, it's a useful skill, but it doesn't scale all that well if you're going the ability power route, as I'm trying to do in this game. So I went back to base here. Maybe I could have stayed in the lane, but I chose not to. I wouldn't put too much faith in some of the items that I'm buying here because I really don't know how to play Sion all that well. Like I said, this is probably my second game. I was building towards Rod of Ages first for the ability power, for the extra life, for the mana. I think that was a mistake. I don't think that that's an item that you should build towards. Sion has plenty of health. He doesn't need extra health. And while he does, he can go through mana in a hurry. I don't think he's so mana intensive that you need to get the extra mana from Rod of Ages. So I think it's probably better to go for something else. I've heard going straight for Sion into Lichblade is a better choice. In fact, I am going to build towards Lichblade in this game, Sion and Lichblade, but I won't get there until after Rod of Ages, which means it'll be delayed for a long time. So that might be a better route. Again, I'm not an expert on Sion. I've played him so little, but you might have better results than I did in this game. There, again, you can see I got in a hit on Kalen, but because I didn't stun him, I'm not able to follow that up with more hits. It seemed like Kalen was always just about to be killed, but due to my own unfamiliarity with Sion, I was never quite able to actually get the kill on Kalen. So even though I was, clearly winning this lane, pushing the tower, getting lots of minion kills, I wasn't really able to be as effective as I probably should have been. Now, to be fair, Kalen has played a lot fewer games of League of Legends than I have. I believe Kalen's around like level 12 or 13. So, I mean, it's not a completely 100% fair matchup either. Because of Kalen's own, less experience than I have. So I probably should be winning this lane, but I could have done a lot better. And if I had been playing somebody like Annie or Karthus or characters I'm familiar with, I'm sure I would have done better. Here, I popped my ultimate to get in hits on the tower, and Sion's ultimate is actually really good for pushing towers because it increases his attack speed, and then with Enrage, you already have pretty good attack damage, even if you're not building that route. If you're going the attack damage route, then he can really push towers. Here, I was going to go after Kalen, but then I see the other team is coming to try and gank me. They've actually brought 3 people to try and get me. But so I'm going to pop off Ghost and then Earthstrike, ultimate's in with Shen's Stand Together ability. And I'm actually going to be able to get out of there without any real trouble, but I'm worried about Earthstrike. So they're all pursuing him. I'm going to try to pop off my shield, which I do, and then I'm going to try to use my stun. Well, actually, I thought I was going to use my stun. I guess I didn't. Probably should have. And that's going to be enough to push this attack back. So it was a nice attempted kill from the other team, but fortunately we were able to stop that. And I was able to get out of it. That's going to allow me to go back and buy Merc Treads. And then, let's see, am I going to buy anything else? No. Also notice that I didn't put down the site ward I bought. If I had put down the site ward I bought, then that would have been enough to get that to avoid getting attacked there. Anyway, because Mookie was up at the top lane, I decided to go middle, and then Speaker got a little bit too aggressive there and pushing forward. He took a shot from the tower, and then with Roland coming in, Roland was able to get the kill with Ashe's slow on her arrows. So anyway, I'm going to come over here and hold mid for the moment until we need to, and look at how many kills I got there. That was nice. Just trying to farm up a little bit more health here. Anyway, continuing onwards, let's see. Now maybe I can talk a little bit more about what's going on in the game instead of just going through Sion's abilities here. You can see that it's pretty even thus far. They've gotten 2 kills. We've now gotten 1 kill. So things are relatively straightforward. Nobody's gotten any towers yet. I choose to throw down my ward there because I knew that there was probably a better chance of them trying to come at me from that bottom lane, I thought, than trying to come out from the top. This tower hasn't been pushed much. In the meantime, I'm going to farm back and forth here. I'm still hoping that I can get Kalen. Now here I'm going to stun him, and then I'm going to use my shield and get in another hit. And I take away about a third of his life doing that at no cost to myself. I mean, other than the mana. I took Clarity in this game as a summoner skill because I'd heard that Sion was really mana intensive. But to be honest, when I found myself playing, I just didn't find myself using up so much mana that I really needed it. And later in the game, I really wish that I hadn't taken it. So I know that some people have recommended this. One of the builds I looked at recommended taking Clarity with him. But to be honest, I'm just not a huge fan of Clarity. I'm not sure it was the right thing to take. And so again, I get in another nice hit. Although why I didn't get in an auto attack there is beyond me. I should have gotten in at least 1 extra auto attack there. There I actually do use Clarity, which refills my mana. So yeah, it did actually serve as useful right there. Okay, anyway, we're still laning here, back and forth. There's not too much going on here. And again, I might be able to kill Kalen, except he's right next to the tower. So kudos, Kalen, for playing defensively. Anyway, we're up towards the end of this video, so we're going to continue this next time in part 2.